Hi guys, it's Makka the American here, and I am here to talk to you about a subject that is very dear to my own heart, and it branches off from being an otaku specifically in Japan and goes more into other cultures. And what tends to happen with a lot of otakus is they get used to the otaku culture and then they decide, hey, maybe I want to branch out and look at other cultures and other things from other cultures that are similar to what I'm seeing. So a lot of the time what happens is we go from Japan to Korea, South Korea, and maybe it's you got into J-pop or J-rock and then that got you into K-pop, or in my case, which was more the case, I watched live actions from Japan and then that got me into Korean dramas, which by the way, Japan tends to be a little more eccentric with their dramas, while Korea is like, no offense or anything, America, but Korea beats you when it comes to making good drama series. So I'm just going to go over 5 of my top favorite Korean dramas to help you guys get into it. So these are ones that I think are good for people who are newer to the genre and are just starting to explore it. I shouldn't even say genre. To the drama and wanting to explore it before they expand out to anything else like Chinese dramas, which do exist by the way. There's also dramas from Taiwan, there's dramas from every Asian country you can think of, there's dramas in every country. So Korea is a good place to start because they have, like I said, I think they have mastered the art of the drama. And then it may get you into other things, and I may have some other suggestions along the way. And we're going to start out with number 5, which is Coffee Prince. Coffee Prince is this really great show. I don't remember if it's still on Netflix or not, but a while ago it was on Netflix. This was actually the first Korean drama I ever watched, and it may seem at first very interesting subject matter, but it's not something that's unseen in otaku culture where we see it in anime, which is the idea of a trap where it's a boy that looks a lot like a girl. Well, this is kind of like a reverse trap. Coffee Prince revolves around this young girl who looks very boyish, and she is at her friend's, I think it's some sort of food shop if I remember correctly. And the shop is bought out and made into a coffee shop with actual baristas. If you don't know what a barista is, they are someone that is professionally trained to brew coffee. And the only problem is that she needs a job, but this coffee shop only employs men. And like, oh, protagonist, she says, I kind of look like that, so why not? And she goes on and she hides her identity as a girl from all of the workers in the shop. There's only one problem with that. The boss, the guy that owns the shop, eventually begins to fall in love with her, and then ensues the constant problem of, am I gay because she doesn't tell him, or do I accept this love, or should I move on with my life? It's really interesting, and it's an interesting topic, especially for an Asian drama, to go over something that explores the idea of sexuality. So don't be alarmed. It is a very great show. It is a bit more mature if you're starting off. It does revolve around older characters, which means there are more mature themes in it. But I do recommend it is a classic Korean drama, and that is why it is number 5 on the list. By the way, guys, these aren't in any particular order of my favorite shows. They're just as they came to me. Some are fresher in my mind because I watched them more recently. So don't think that these are any better or any worse than each other. That's up to you to decide after you watch them. And with that, number 4 is Oh My Venus. Oh My Venus is once again, it's revolved around this more mature themes because all of the characters in it are adults. But the theme of this is very interesting because it revolves around the idea of obesity. And here in America, we have a different idea of obesity versus other countries. But there's this girl who was very, very popular and very, very beautiful when she was in high school. And then as she grows up, she develops a thyroid problem and she starts to gain a lot of weight. At the beginning of the show, you see her break up with her 10 or so year boyfriend, who she was going to propose to and thought she was going to marry. And then she doesn't know what to do with her life. She faints on a plane, and lo and behold, a very attractive man, who is also a professional trainer hiding his identity, discovers her and helps her while she's on this plane. And their fates become intertwined, and he eventually ends up training her to help her get back to her original self. What is my favorite part about this, not only is it a hilarious show, it has its very emotional scenes, but it also has a very redeeming theme in it, and that is healthy is always sexiest. It's not, I want to get you back to your original weight because that makes you beautiful. It's, I want to get you to a place where you feel healthy and good all the time, because you being healthy is the sexiest thing you can be. And that is why I like it in number 4. Number 3, and this is also a very big classic on the Korean drama list. A lot of people who are into Korean drama have watched this one, and that is Boys Over Flowers. If you've ever watched Oran, you know kind of this concept, Oran High School Host Club. A young girl is very poor. She's from a normal neighborhood, but she's not of the elite class. And she's accepted into this very high elite school on a scholarship. Unfortunately, while she's there, she is bullied mercilessly by the other students because she is of a lower class and therefore subhuman, apparently. But who, among all of these people, would be the one that bullies her worst and most? Yes, you guessed it. It's the tsundere bully, a very attractive young man with a troubled past and a lot of money. And they eventually end up falling in love, even though they're both a little slow on the uptake. But it's a classic one. It revolves around high school romance, which means it's better for people who are younger, and it doesn't have as many adult themes in it. It eventually does end up at the end where they are all grown up, but you actually get to see them grow up and develop their own dreams, and that is why it's at number 3. I actually have one of the ringtones from Love Rain on my phone. It's my text tone. Love Rain is a very interesting show because it takes the past and lines it up with the present. You have the past of this young woman and this young man who fall in love. They're both artists. One of them is an artist. And he falls in love with this very beautiful girl, and eventually fate tears them apart. And then we come back, I think it's in the 70s, so it's about 30 years later, it's present day. This is an older show. So 30, 40 years later, and we are now looking at their children. And their children end up meeting and falling in love, and then we have this entire conflict of these two people that used to be in love meet again, and do we put our own love above the love of our children? And you get to see that go back and forth. It's very dramatic, but it also has its very, very funny moments. And that is a theme that is present in a lot of Korean drama, is while it's dramatic and it's heart-wrenching and it's heartbreaking and a little cliche sometimes, it is also hilarious in those in-between moments. And I have finally come to number 1 on my list. And that is Goblin. I think the formal title is Goblin, the Lonely and Great God. Don't hold me to that, I just call it Goblin. Oh, how do I describe this show? Oh my god. I hate this show. Why would they do that? Why would you do that? Yes. 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 Oh, I love this show so much. It's so fantastic. Yeah, that'll do it. So Goblin is this really fantastic show. It actually just came out this season, and all I can say about it is that it's just absolutely mind-blowing. It's fantastic. The music in it is fantastic. It's haunting. It so fits the themes of the show. It's mysterious. And then, of course, the show is absolutely hilarious at some moments and absolutely heart-wrenching at others. Makes you sob like a little kid. Like, I literally sobbed, and I sobbed so much. I haven't sobbed that much since I watched Death Parade, and that is my #1 favorite anime. So, realistically, the show revolves around this young girl who is never supposed to be born. Her life was saved by this goblin, who is an immortal. And she is this missing soul. So she's not on any registry. She was never supposed to be born in the first place. And she grows up, and she's grown up in this very unlucky situation. Her mother dies. Her abusive aunt takes over. She's still stuck in high school, and I think she's 19, which is not uncommon. Don't worry about that. She's stuck in high school, so she can't really go anywhere. And then she meets this very mysterious man who she doesn't know, who is older, by the way, in case you were wondering. He is older in terms of the fact that he actually looks older. This isn't Twilight. So she meets this older guy, and eventually she meets this Grim Reaper, who is supposed to take her soul, but she's defended constantly by this goblin, and then eventually by the Grim Reaper himself, from her unlucky death situations. And that is all I will say about it, because there are lots of spoilers. The goblin has a very dark past. Their souls being intertwined. She is the goblin's bride because of the fact that he saved her life as a child. And as she grows up, she is supposed to eventually help end the goblin's suffering. I think I just got a spoiler right there. Basically, she is the goblin's bride, so she is supposed to spend her life with him. But things get complicated as it goes on. So those are my top 5 Korean dramas to get you into Korean drama. There are actually tons more that you can watch. If you ever want recommendations, just comment below and say, hey, I've watched all of these, or hey, do you have any other recommendations I watched? This is what I like. And I will respond to your comments, and I will tell you. You can also follow me on Twitter, find Makka the American, or it's at creepy_cat. Both of those are spelled with capital K's. And follow me on Twitter and ask me there. I am perfectly willing. But in the meantime, that is all I have for this video, guys. So I will see you later, and try to enjoy your weekend. Yeah, we'll go with that. Weekend. Bye!